Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a horror thriller film, Venus. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a text that tells us 3 innocent girls are going to die at dawn. A planet is said to appear out of nowhere and devour the sun to spark off the coronation day, thus beginning the rule of a female demon lord named Lamastu. The shock switches to a club where pretty show girls are going wild and flexing their hormone muscles. In the middle of the madness, a girl named Lucia makes a sneaky escape after stealing some drugs, which she puts into her bag. However, she's halted by a guard named Big G. He tells Lucia to go back and dance for the crowd, but she says she's not feeling well. Big G is sad because he wants Lucia to dance for him, but she promises to give him a treat the next day. However, Big G notices that Lucia is stealing something, so he tells her to open the bag. She complies, but uses an anti-hormone spray to incapacitate Big G. He still manages to stab Lucia in the leg, but she uses a wine bottle to knock him down. Lucia quickly gets out of the club while still bleeding and gets into her car. She drives away and seals her wound with a cloth. After a while, Lucia finds herself in a garbage yard and her car gives out. The scene immediately transitions to Lucia's sister, who is woken up by some suspicious sounds. The sister notices her daughter Alba also awake and suspects the worst, so she goes to the bathroom to shut off the smelly liquid coming from the taps. She also shuts down the TV, which is playing violent monkey footage. The sister eventually decides to leave her Venus building with Alba, but the lift opens up and Lucia comes out of it, wounded and bleeding. Meanwhile, a boss goon confronts Big G over his failure. He cannot believe that Big G could lose to a little girl like Lucia, but he promises that he messed her up, so she should be easily tracked. As she tends to Lucia, the sister asks what happened to her, but she says she got into a jam. However, Boss Goon and Big G get closer to Lucia when they find her car. The sister finds Lucia's bag and opens it to find a lot of drugs inside. This angers her, and she confronts Lucia about it. The sisters get into a fierce argument, but the sister doesn't care that Lucia's life is in danger because she has her own daughter to worry about. The 2 sisters calm down and sit together for a drink. This is when Lucia reveals that she's with a man who will help her sell the drugs so that she can start a new life. However, the sister tells Lucia she has no right to put her and Alba in danger. Later, Lucia goes to sleep, but is alerted when she hears weird sounds coming from the ceiling. She inspects it, but a demon hand breaks open the vent to reveal an army of demon bugs. This just turns out to be a nightmare, so Lucia wakes up and shares an awkward moment with Alba. However, Lucia learns that her sister has left with her bag of drugs, probably to expose her to the cops. Lucia panics and tries to find a cell phone, but Alba says there's nothing in the house, and there aren't any neighbors as well. Later, Boss Goo meets his own boss, Mafia, and tells him he's doing everything he can to solve the Lucia problem. Mafia talks about churros first, but eventually expresses his frustration over Lucia stealing his drugs. Booze Goo tries to reassure Mafia, but is told that a hitman is going to take care of things now. Meanwhile, Lucia takes Alba with her to make a phone call, but isn't able to get through to her sister. She spots Big G nearby, so she makes a sneaky exit from the scene. Big G goes to Hitman, who tells him to get an intimate but smelly piece of clothing that belonged to Lucia, like her panties. Big G makes a cringe face upon hearing such a sick desire. Later, Lucia and Alba eat some spaghetti together and have a chat about a mysterious maid who lives upstairs. Lucia wants to know more about this maid, but Alba says she's a scary woman. She then shows Lucia some items that the maid has been giving her. Lucia is shocked to see all the creepy items, such as teeth and tears of innocent children. Alba also says that the scary maid keeps coming to scare her in the night through her dreams. Boss Goon goes to meet a dancer girl, who is also Lucia's roommate. He asks her for info on Lucia and says he just wants to help. However, the dancer girl says she has no idea about Lucia's whereabouts. Then, Alba tries dancing in front of the TV, with music playing in the background. Lucia takes a look at her wound, which is still not looking good. She then takes out a photo album and goes through all the pictures of her with her sister when they were kids. This makes her emotional, and then Alba shows up to ask her for some dance lessons. Lucia said she'll do it later, so Alba joins her in looking through the pictures. Lucia thinks about her past life, but she and Alba get distracted when the neighboring kid shows up to invite Alba to her birthday party. Lucia doesn't want to go for it, but Alba says there's a phone at her place. This prompts Lucia to go upstairs and make an awkward introduction to all the ladies over there. All the old ladies notice Lucia and her sexy body, so they praise her skin and her jeans. However, Lucia wants to know more about the attic and whether anyone lives there. She is told that there's nobody else in the building, so she asks for a phone instead. Lucia tries calling her sister, but still can't reach her, so she calls up her mystery boyfriend instead. That's when we learn that Lucia is in cahoots with Boss Goon. He asks Lucia for her location, and she reveals she's in the Venus building. But her voice starts cracking, and the call gets disconnected. Boss Goon tries to call her back, but he can't get through the second time. Meanwhile, Hitman meets a bald psychic and asks her to help him find Lucia. She asks for her clothes, so Hitman gives her a stocking. The psychic proceeds to drink a smelly liquid and carry out a creepy ritual without distraction of her hair, after which she spits blood on the Venus building's location on the map. The psychic says that this is the place where Lucia is living, but warns Hitman that it is haunted, and she even takes the name of Lucia's sister, much to his confusion. Now Lucia surprisingly finds the bag of drugs and hides it in the closet, after which she finds a folder titled Venus. She starts going through it and finds tons of newspaper clippings inside. These clippings reveal that the Venus building has been accused of housing the female demon Lamastu, which is why it is believed that evil witches live there. It is also mentioned that the bodies of 3 girls were found there, similar to what the text had told us earlier. After learning of a suicide from the 10th floor, Lucia finds Alba, who keeps saying her hand hurts. Lucia is shocked to see that Alba has slashed her own hand and starts to panic. She tries to heal Alba and asks why she did this, but Alba says the scary maid told her to do it. This makes Lucia upset, so she scolds Alba, but also hugs her after seeing how scared she is. Somewhere else, Mafia rounds up some dancer girls and asks them for intel on Lucia. None of them know anything, despite being intimidated by Mafia and his men. This makes Mafia upset, so he makes the girls dance their hormones away. But then, Hitman shows up and tells Mafia that he knows where Lucia is. He mentions a woman, and that's when the dancer girls reveal that she is Lucia's sister. In the night, Lucia sleeps next to Alba and checks out her wound, but she is shocked to see all the smelly bugs coming out of it, as if her body is their lair. She hears some sounds, so she goes to check it out, but finds a pregnant shadow in the bathroom. She turns on the lights and opens the curtain, but doesn't find anyone there. That's when her sister finally shows up and says that Lucia needs to leave the house. She strangely says that her daughter is now evil, which is why she left the house in the first place. Lucia doesn't understand this, but then her sister slashes her and says Alba isn't her daughter anymore. She attacks Lucia in a hectic scene and drags her sexy body across the floor, while Alba stabbed her own neck in front of Lucia to add to the confusion. The next day, Boss Goon shows up at the Venus building, hoping to find Lucia. Alba opens the curtains, and Lucia is still fine, indicating that what we saw was actually another haunted dream. Alba gives Lucia a box, which is a present from the scary maid upstairs. Lucia doesn't like what's inside the box because she thinks it's some sick joke. Regardless, she tells Alba to sit and watch TV. Now, Lucia goes up to the 10th floor, intending to check what the scary maid is all about. In the middle of this, Boss Goon is seen entering the building. Hitman and Big G are also there looking for Lucia, but they can't find any post boxes. Big G doesn't want to go knocking on all the 10 floors, but then Hitman spots one of the old ladies that Lucia had met and uses her for information. While Lucia checks out the creepy paintings on the 10th floor, Hitman and the old lady go to the neighboring kid's house, where her mom is also present. Hitman uses the disguise of an investment agent and asks the ladies for help identifying the residents of the building. Hitman eventually mentions Lucia's sister, and the women nod in approval. Hitman is told that Lucia is still staying on the 9th floor, but then the lady leader arrives and tells Hitman to remain seated. Lucia comes across some photos of Alba and is shocked to see a grotesque painting of the scary maid, who is actually a monster slave of the demon lord. That's when Lucia's real sister shows up, chained to the wall. Her neck is bleeding, but she still manages to tell Lucia that the women downstairs are all witches who had killed the women mentioned in the newspaper clippings. She tells Lucia to save Alba from the witches, after which she dies in her arms. This makes Lucia highly emotional, so she cries while hugging her sister's body. Meanwhile, Hitman tries to make an escape to find Lucia, but the witches confront him for being a fake. He decides to show off his gangster vibes, but is attacked in the head from behind. Lucia comes back home and prepares to take Alba away, but she gets interrupted when the neighboring kid shows up asking for Alba. Lucia shoos her away, but she has nowhere to go, as Big G is still downstairs. Hitman is used as a sacrifice for the witches, so Big G can't get through to his phone. He calls up Mafia and alerts him about this, so Mafia decides to take matters into his own hands. Now, Boss Goon goes looking for Lucia and finds the neighboring kid. He compliments her ugly face and convinces her to lead him to Lucia. Meanwhile, the witches get ready for their ultimate ritual and use frogs to awaken their demonic powers, intending to do something evil and fishy. This sets the maid monster loose and it enters Alba's house. Lucia takes Alba inside a hiding spot and notices the maid monster crawling around, after which it goes into the bathroom, possibly looking for some men's hormones. Boss Goon enters the house, but instead of helping Lucia, he demands to know where the drug bag is. Alba says it's in the bathroom, so Boss Goon is pleased. But he says that he has to send Lucia to meet Jesus in order to keep his image safe in front of Mafia. Lucia doesn't want to die, but Boss Goon stabs her while tongue massaging her. This makes Alba upset as well, but Boss Goon doesn't care, and he sets out to get the drug bag while Lucia lies bleeding on the floor. Boss Goon enters the bathroom, but finds the maid monster, who smells his bad hormones and brutally attacks him. The maid monster ends Boss Goon by smashing his head to pieces. Meanwhile, Mafia and his men reach the scene and decide to spring into action. Lucia asks Alba to run away, but the witches show up and take her as their hostage. They knock Alba out with drugs and stab Lucia after revealing that Alba will be used to reincarnate the demon lord Lamastu because a holy eclipse is about to occur. Lucia seemingly drops dead to the floor, and Alba is taken away to be prepared for an unholy ritual. As Alba is presented to the witches, Lucia suddenly wakes up and awakens all her strength to crawl to the bed, where she opens the box gifted to her by the maid monster. There, she finds a giant stapler, which she uses to seal her wounds, and then she opens up the drug bag. Lucia gobbles all the drugs and gets an energy rush, which is good enough for her to fight for now. She quickly arranges a TV and a gas cylinder in front of the door and hides when Big G and his men arrive. Lucia tricks the men into shooting the cylinder, thus causing all of them to die. However, Big G is still alive, and some monsters show up to trace and attack Alba upstairs with their GPS tentacles. This is bad news, as Lucia is dominated by Big G's big muscles. But he becomes too arrogant, and she uses this advantage to knock him down. Lucia uses Big G's own blade to end his sorry life, and then she takes his shotgun upstairs. The witch ritual is stopped when Lucia arrives, and then she shoots down one of the witches with the shotgun. That's when the witches realize that Lucia is the actual reincarnation of the goddess of light, as can be seen by her holy glow when the eclipse occurs. The witches bow down to Lucia in subjugation, but she doesn't spare them any mercy and shoots them down. After that, she takes Alba and goes to confront Mafia and his men. Seeing her holy glow makes all the men bow down to Lucia, and she forgives Mafia for being an unholy man. The movie ends with Lucia taking Alba's hand and walking away happily, while the neighboring kid watches from the background. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.